Big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Let's talk a little bit about Tesla and why my beloved Model 3 has been the best and worst purchase I've ever made. So you may know by now that the Tesla Model 3 is my dream car. If you hadn't been able to tell just by looking at my YouTube channel, in 2016 I paid $1,000 down just for the Model 3 reservation before it had even been revealed. I went on to buy it 2 years later, and I saved up money along that period of time just to pay cash for the Model 3. So after almost 3 years of owning the Model 3, here are some of the reasons why it's the best purchase I've ever made. First of all, I get so much enjoyment out of the car. It's so much fun to drive. I drive it so much, so I've saved a lot of money in gas and maintenance and oil, so no more stopping at gas stations. I love having just this breaking edge technology in my car. And plus, since I drive a lot, I drive at least 25,000 miles a year. I wanted to have a car that I absolutely love because I spend so much time in it. I love making YouTube videos about it. It's so much fun to film and play with, and it just keeps getting better over time. I love seeing people's reactions to it. It's brought me so many opportunities by filming and making videos about the Model 3 and focusing on Tesla on YouTube. I've been able to, become the world's top Tesla referrer. I've been able to go to Tesla events. I saw the Model Y event. I saw the Cybertruck event. I went to a SpaceX Falcon Heavy launch. It's been incredible. I've met so many awesome people in the Tesla community just by doing videos about my Model 3. So those are the main reasons that stick out in my mind of why the Model 3 has been the best purchase I've ever made. It's literally the number one materialistic thing that has brought me the highest level of enjoyment. Remember, money doesn't buy happiness unless it's a Tesla. I think that's how that saying goes. Now that may sound all fine and dandy, but what about it being the worst purchase I've ever made? Let's talk a little bit about investing and opportunity cost and risk and finances and money. So back in 2016, when I was saving up a lot of money for my car, I remember being on Reddit when the Model 3 reveal happened, and I was on there looking at the posts and people were sharing their reactions. And I remember seeing people respond about buying the car and financing, and some users were saying, whatever money you're saving for the Model 3, put it into Tesla stock. By the time the Model 3 comes out, you'll have enough money to pay off the car and then some. I'm very risk averse, and I was like, there's no way I would ever do that. And nobody would ever do that. So I saved my money in a savings account. And over the period of 2 years, once I got my car in 2018, I had enough money to pay the car off. That sounds awesome, right? And I'm very fortunate to be in that situation where I could pay the car off. However, let's run the scenario as if I invested in Tesla. We all know how good Tesla stock has been lately. Over the past few years, actually, it has just completely skyrocketed. Back when I was reserving my Model 3, I was saving up money. I had saved up money prior to that because I knew the Model 3 was going to come out. So in April 2016, my net worth was $162,000. Let's just assume that $50,000 of that was saved up and I could have put it into Tesla stock. At that time, if we consider the stock split that just happened, Tesla stock was right around $250 a share. And if you fast forward to now, almost 5 years later, the stock is now up to $4,250 a share. And that's counting in the stock split. 1,700% return over the last 5 years almost. So the $50,000 that I paid for my Model 3 with, if I were to put that in Tesla stock, it would be worth $850,000 today. Yeah, just saying that out loud gives me a little anxiety, so I probably won't mention it again in this video. That's just absolutely insane. And there are people out there who did this. And some people assume that I just am heavily invested in Tesla, the Tesla stock. I'm actually not, because when I first started doing YouTube videos of the Tesla, I wasn't even investing in individual stocks at that time. And I want to be completely unbiased and objective when I did my reviews. So I didn't want to have any stake in the company. So when you hear me talking positive about Tesla, and when I do the reviews, it's because I love the product, I love the company. It's not because I want to gain something from the stock. So that's kind of why the Model 3 has been my worst purchase, if you look at it that way, because I could have taken that $50,000 that I saved and put it into Tesla stock and made a lot of money. Now, how does this pertain to you? I want to talk about investing and risk tolerance and risk management and kind of what I would do looking back, because hindsight is always 20/20. Anybody can look at a stock after it's happened and be like, oh yeah, I should have invested in that. You never know until it happens. So don't feel bad. If you missed out on this boat, as well as I did, don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up about it, because there are always opportunity costs too. So for example, if I would have invested in Tesla back in 2016, I wouldn't have had the money to buy the house that I bought, that I moved in later that year in 2016. I wouldn't have been able to go on these amazing trips that I went on with my wife. For the longest time, the Tesla stock kind of went up and down. It stayed at the same level. There was really no huge upticks in it until last year, really. I mean, where it kind of skyrocketed. So for 3 or 4 years, if nothing really happened and moved, would I have had the guts to just keep it in there and stick it out for the ride? Because that's the most important part. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial expert. None of this is financial advice. If you choose to invest in individual stocks, just try to be long-term minded. Put the money in there, do your risk tolerance, see how much you are okay with. Looking back, if I could give you any type of advice, if you are kind of in a situation where you're considering like, should I buy Tesla? Should I invest in this stock or that stock? I am a boring investor, so I like to kind of focus my time and energy on my strengths. And I don't like to spend too much time thinking about my money. So what I do is I just invest in boring index funds. So I read a really good book last year, or listened to it on Audible. It's called The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Highly recommend that. And if you are just the type of investor who wants to set it and forget it and long-term investing, that is a very good book. So basically, invest in low-cost index funds for the majority of your life, and mostly in stocks, and you will be fine. However, I am to the point where I am fortunate enough to where I can kind of play around with some money in individual stocks. So this time last year, I did an experiment. I threw some money in some individual ETFs, such as a lot of ARK Invest ETFs. Big fan of them. They are huge proponents of Tesla and other technology innovative companies. It's been great. It's been very good returns. But what I'm going to do from here on out, and what I should have done back then, is set up a recurrent investment into stocks that I truly believe in and that I'm a big fan of and that I know a lot about. It's called dollar cost averaging, DCA. Small recurrent investments, $100 a month or $500 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever you can risk and not worry about, and be okay with not seeing that money for years, and just be a long-term holder. Because anybody can look at Tesla and be like, oh man, you missed out on all those gains. Well, you have to be the certain special type of person who has enough money to put in that Tesla stock, or that whoever the stock it is, and be able to have the determination and patience to wait it out, to wait out the dips, to wait out the valleys, and wait out the crazy times. I mean, who knew? Like when the Cybertruck event happened, when Franz von Holzhausen threw the metal ball, who knew that that was going to be the beginning of a historical stock rise for Tesla? So that's sort of my story of why the Tesla Model 3 has been the best and worst purchase I've ever made. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more Tesla videos, make sure you subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Today's sponsor is Squarespace, which is an easy-to-use platform that allows you to create your own beautiful website. It's 2021, everyone should have their own website. The good thing is with Squarespace, you don't need to be a professional coder. It gives you all the tools you need, and it has a ton of useful features. A big pet peeve of mine is visiting a website that doesn't optimize for my phone, but all Squarespace websites are automatically optimized for mobile, and the content looks great on any device. Squarespace also has built-in website analytics that give you quick insights to your audience, so you know where your visitors are coming from, how long they're on your site, which pages are the most popular, and more. To get your own website, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, visit squarespace.com/AndySlye to save 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain.